Hi, good morning. I'm going to try to show you how to measure a rim to get the proper tire size, because working with vintage bicycles often, well, there are so many sizes that I know a lot of customers order the incorrect size and find out that it doesn't come close to fitting the rim or the wheel they have for their vintage bicycle. There used to be a few of these videos online, but I haven't seen one. I was looking for one for a customer, so wasn't able to find one, so I thought maybe I'd do it myself. So the whole reason for doing this is because you really can't guesstimate tire size. If you look at, and I recommend you look at Sheldon Brown's tire sizing page, there's just a whole lot of different sizes given imperial measurements, 26 by something, either a fraction or a decimal, and they're not interchangeable. You absolutely need the perfect size tire for your vintage bicycle. So if you don't have a tire on the rim, and I'm just using a new rim, yours would have spokes and a hub. You'll need to measure it. The best way to do that is to measure something called the bead seat diameter. So if you look in here, this you're seeing a ridge right here. This is where the tire bead will sit. And so that's the key measurement that you need. This one's narrow enough that, as you're going to see when I go to measure it, the tape I'm using sits right on that. Most rims of vintage bicycles would be wider, so you kind of have to carefully try to align the tape with the bead seat. Okay, so I guess to show you how to do this, the way you only need you need a cloth measuring tape, a sewing tape. So it doesn't matter where you start on the rim, but you do need to remove the tire. You can see I've already put a pencil mark here. I just used the valve stem hole, just a good point to begin. And I have a cloth measuring tape, and you need to measure it in metric. And because what we're doing here is we're moving away from the, I guess, imperial fraction inch type measurement to what's called the ISO measurement. So it's measured in metric. So you can see I put the start of the tape right here. I'm going to hold it in place. And as I said, luckily my tape follows right along the bead seat. So I'm just holding it. Oops, slipped there. So because we're measuring millimeters, any errors will certainly affect your measurement and give you the incorrect size. So I have to hold that in place. Just following it along here. Don't hesitate to do this several times, and you should do it several times just to make sure that your technique and your measurements are correct. So this is a 150 centimeter tape. And you can see it's interesting because I did this before I made the video, and I'm off by a couple of millimeters from my last measurement because I'm not being as, I guess, careful this time while making the video. So yeah, 150 millimeters, 1500 centimeters. I already placed a mark here, and I'm going to go with that mark. So that's where my tape should be after doing that method. So we have 1500 millimeters, but we're not back to our start. So we have to, it'd be nice if I had a tape that was longer than 150. So maybe I should check that out. Maybe just one less step, and that would give you a greater accuracy if it was, say, a 2500 millimeter tape. So here I am starting at my end point. I'm going to try to be much more careful because I'm only going over here, so I'm holding it. So as you can see, I'm at 47, 475, about 478. So if you add those two numbers together, 1500 and 478, you're at about 1978. So that's the circumference of the wheel, of the rim. Now, what you need to do is convert that to diameter. So the diameter is actually from here, from the bead seat. Oops, let's use this metric end. Across. Now, of course, as you do this, oops, sorry. So let's just pretend I have that stretched out across the rim. Pretty close. It's hard to know exactly what is, perfectly across the widest part of the rim, and where precisely the bead seat sits underneath here, but you can estimate. And if you look at that, that's about 620 something, okay? And it's close, but it's not correct. It should be 630, and I'll tell you why. So you can take that 1578 millimeter measurement for the circumference and go online to a circle conversion calculator. So I just type in circumference to diameter, calculator will pop up. I enter the 1978 millimeters for circumference, and it will tell me that that is equal to, or a circle, a rim with that circumference has a diameter of 630. Now 630 is the number that you want. If you're unsure, you can always email me and at Daryl@freelanderbicycles.com, and I'll see if I can confirm for you your measurements. But that 630 is perfect. It's actually, when I put it in, it was 629.6. So of course it's going to be a little small amount of error. But that's 630. And 630 millimeters diameter is the size of a 27 1/4 inch wheel and tire. And that's what this rim is. This is a vintage 10-speed rim before they went to the 700C size. So you'll find this on many older bikes, especially department store bikes, but also a lot of the even better built 10 speeds, we'll call them, of that era. So when you look for a tire, you can, again, that 630 is the number that I like to use. It's the ISO number. I think it also stands for effective rim tire or something. There's an acronym, ERTRO. But the 630 tells me that there's no other tire that's gonna, there can't be another size. This is the size of this rim. The tire you need is a 27 by 1 1/4, 1 3/8. The second number is the width. Not as important as the first one. But again, there are other 27-inch tires. So the number, again, the most important number is that 630, the ISO number, and that's the size tire you need. So I hope that helps. Again, if you have any questions, you just fire me off an email. It's Daryl@freelanderbicycles.com, and we'll try our best to get the tire that fits your vintage bicycle so you can get back on the road and riding. Thanks, and enjoy the day.